Good morning, minions, and welcome to another episode of No More Mr. Fat Guy TV. Now we're continuing our journey through the alphabet, and this week we've got to the letter F. Now that obviously gave me a few options. It's not every day you have to spend time deciding on which F word to choose, and you'll be pleased to hear that I've chosen quite a clean one. Now, in terms of everything, I mean, there were so many options. We've got fitness, it was a fairly obvious one. Then we've got food, is possibly another obvious one. And I think, if you stop and think about how many different F words could possibly relate to personal development, health and fitness and all that kind of stuff, then you may come up with quite a long list yourself. The one that I actually settled on in the end, I think actually underpins an awful lot of the other stuff, and is actually probably a fairly central, a sort of an essential core element that everything else kind of revolves around. And I've sort of started speaking about it already on the Facebook page this week. And the word that we're going with this week is feelings. Now, feelings are, it can mean an awful lot of things to different people. It's often used, as an alternative to the word emotion. I think there's a slight difference between emotion and feeling, but the sort of psychologists and philosophers can sort of debate that one until the cows come home. But the reason that the word or the concept of feelings is really so important to me is not something that I ever thought about before, and it's sort of something that I've discovered along the way. And as you read more and more sort of personal development literature and listen to audios, and you start listening to what other people have said and what other sort of coaches and trainers and things that other people have touched on that start to make sense, and you start to be able to frame it within the terms of your own experience, and you start to understand a little bit more. You sort of get a retrospective view on the journey that you've had so far, and certainly this word, this idea of feelings about how do you want your life to feel, how do you want to feel sort of with your work, how do you want to feel in your relationships, how do you want to feel when you think about your future, how do you want to feel, take any aspect of your life and how do you want it to make you feel, and that's a really powerful concept, really, because as opposed to sort of sitting down and just using the sort of the rational part of your brain and goal setting and deciding to set out to achieve certain things, and then plotting out the roadmap to get there, just in a very sort of intellectual kind of way. There's a lot of stuff being pushed out there at the moment, and it all seems to make quite a lot of sense to me. Is when you think about the future, when you think about any aspect of your life that you maybe want to make, you're going to make changes, or you're going to work towards something, or you're just trying to figure out exactly what you want to do when you grow up, or you're trying to figure out, you're trying to design a new life, you're reinventing yourself perhaps, then just taking the intellectual approach of setting out a blueprint is all well and good, but that's almost like a two-dimensional approach, because you sort of get this list of steps how to get there, and you get sort of these sort of like cold, sort of feelingless sort of ideas on paper, and you can certainly start working towards those, and you've got a checklist that you can basically tick stuff off and chart your progress. But I think if you actually start from the point of view of imagining and really experiencing right now how it would feel to get to where you want to go, and how you want to feel in general, and to like really let that take root inside, actually just inside your very sort of being, and experience it right now, and know that that's that sort of that happiness and that joy, that satisfaction, that contentment, that sense of freedom, whatever it is, whatever range of feelings you actually want to come together, that to you would spell out, a success, a successful sort of result for you, or living the life that you actually want, or some aspect of your life is exactly as you would want it. If once you can actually get understand how that feels, then you'll know that you're on track. And as you sort of make progress towards your goals, once your feelings actually start going away from where you wanted them to be, then that's a very good indication that you're actually off track. Now, if we just take that to the very sort of extreme, or sort of the other end of the scale, and basically when I think back to how I actually got started, I mean, I was once asked how I got started getting losing weight and getting fit and training towards marathon, etc., etc. And I sort of just very glibly said at the time, I did a bit of personal development work, and then I got to the point where I sort of put my hand up, and then the first step was that I made a couple of small changes, and I started going out for a 15-minute walk in the morning and setting habits. Now that's that was the shortened version of the beginning but realistically, when I actually look back on it, it actually goes back to the fact that over a number of years, over quite a few years, 20 something years, a series of sort of frustrations and a series of, there were certain things obviously that I take responsibility for, because the way that I reacted to certain sort of happenings in my life was, I could have gone the other way and things would have been much better. I didn't deal with certain things very well. Let them build up, and let certain aspects of myself shut down and get hidden. That's something that I've worked through. But what happened because of all that is that the feelings that grew, the feelings that were growing inside me that I didn't pay attention to, were growing feelings of frustration and growing feelings of, this is kind of, in many ways, certain things that I had, certain things that were going on, and certain, career-wise and everything, were pale imitations of what I probably truly would want. And the way that with hindsight, which is always a fantastic thing, that was actually fairly obvious, because it felt that way. It felt frustrating. It felt as though it wasn't what I wanted. It felt that it was somewhat certain various aspects were somewhat lacking, because I was basically just settling for and accepting, and bumbling along, really, just really letting life happen to me. And then what basically happened, because that went on for so many years, for 2.5 decades, you basically got to a certain point where obviously there was enough of that bad feeling inside, the wrong feelings, that it sort of built up into basically I guess there was enough there to act as a catalyst, or to just basically suddenly explode into being, and to make yourself aware, and presented itself as, I guess, what many people might consider to be midlife crisis, because I was 42, but I think it could have happened at any age. Maybe that's all midlife crisis ever is, but realistically, because those feelings were there, I think because those frustrations were there, that's probably why I started reading up on certain personal development stuff. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to put some resources up on the website at some point, because there were some books and some audios that I've slowly gone from thinking, well, who listens to and reads that nonsense, to actually picking them up and enjoying them and taking them on board and letting them have an impact on my life. But reading stuff like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and some stuff by that's a very old publication, and there's stuff that's been done by sort of like contemporary sort of coaches and authors now that has given a modern spin on certain things that really sort of started to spark some ideas. And to be honest, I mean, I'm not a religious person. I don't have a traditional religious faith. Mine's more of a nature-based spirituality. That's, you know, I really practice my spirituality through my running these days, because when I'm out doing a long distance run and I'm outdoors, and I've just got time with my thoughts, you know, that's kind of my meditation time, and that's also kind of my gratitude time, and it's, you know, it's my in touch with nature time, and so that's what I get from that. But I was doing basically involved with a little group for a few years, and yeah, we would regularly meditate, and we would regularly actively do that kind of sort of personal development work, and all these little bits and pieces slowly sort of activated and shook up, you know, those bits and pieces and that ball of frustration that was building up inside me, so that at some point really those you know, the unwanted feelings, the feelings of frustration, basically had to be addressed. And so that's the extreme. That's the far extreme, at the wrong end of the scale, that you really want to try and avoid, because you know, if you recognise sooner in the process that the way that you're feeling is actually signalling to you that you're on the wrong path, that you're actually not headed in the direction that you truly would want to be, and sometimes you do take a short detour in what seems to be the wrong direction, and eventually you kind of get back in the right direction. And so I'll touch on that a bit in a minute, because there's a way of managing that. But generally speaking, if you feel frustrated and you feel that you know, just pay attention to those little signals. Really, I think that's what I'm saying. Don't let them build up. Don't let them grow into the monster that needs to have a couple of years of serious work to fix them. And then have to deal with the sort of the impact of making, you know, a massive load of change. I mean, if you get the opportunity to stop and think now about how you want to feel, and where you want to get to, and then start paying attention right now, then maybe you can start making little adjustments and start getting your life back in the direction that you actually want it to, without having to then have to make a whole load of major changes in one go. Yeah, and when life throws you a little detour, I think this is another aspect to it, and also perhaps, like, even if you sat in a job, for example, at the moment that you feel isn't serving you any purpose, just think about it and find the ways of changing your perspective. Try and find the ways. Just keep questioning yourself and keep examining the situation, and try to get to the point where you can actually say, you know, where it makes sense, where you can actually say that you can see how maybe a certain little detour or a certain little obstacle, or where you're currently at, is somehow contributing, how it maybe has taken you out of a comfort zone, how it's maybe exposed you to a different situation, given you a new skill, or you know, giving you an opportunity to exercise sort of, you know, that patience, or, you know, whatever it is. Find the positive, find the lesson in every aspect of your life, and then you'll actually find that it makes you feel better. It actually makes you realise that it's something good. It's something that's there, that can and does teach you a lesson, or teach you a skill, or counterintuitively take you a step closer to where you want to be, and a step closer to feeling how you want to feel. And I think the only other point that I would make in terms of feelings is that apart from certain situations, I mean, like, you know, I'm gonna say, you know, categorically that something like depression, there's an awful lot of people that are in the personal development sphere that seem to, especially the law of attraction type stuff, where they get into an uncomfortable area. I feel they actually they kind of imply that you know, if you've got depression, they actually sort of say if you've got depression, then you can just basically start concentrating on the positives and attract more positive to your life, and depression melts away. I'm very uncomfortable. I think that's a misuse of the word depression. I think they're actually talking more about just being sad. They're talking about people that have got feelings of sadness and upset, and not full blown needing medical attention, depression. So I will state categorically, if you have a situation, if you have a condition such as depression that needs the treatment and needs the medication or the medical attention, whatever, then that isn't what I'm talking about now. But under normal circumstances, with a normal range of feelings that are nothing to do with any chemical imbalances or whatever, then you have full control of your feelings. You can choose at any moment to feel exactly as you wish. It may not seem like that. You may have something happen to you that instinctively makes you react in a certain way and feel in a certain way, and that's actually entirely natural. I mean, if you've got something that makes you feel angry, or you've got something that makes you feel sad, or something that just makes you feel frustrated, that's your initial reaction. That's fair enough. But what's useful to do is to try and learn, and you do need to learn it as a habit, and need to learn it as a practice, is to actually to start recognising. I think meditation can help with this as well. Start recognising that when these sort of feelings kick in, and being able to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is not a good feeling, but it's obviously a reaction to this situation. So why am I actually feeling like this, and what does it mean, and how can I turn that around into something positive, and then basically transform that negative sort of feeling into something that is positive. And an example of that might be that you just had some bad news. You didn't get the job that you'd basically applied for, say, and that makes you feel sad. That makes you feel frustrated. So you can you have that initial reaction, and that's probably necessary. Because we're not all sort of feelingless, emotionless drones. We all want to be feeling sort of humans with a whole range of emotions and experience of life. But you take that reaction and just go, hey, okay, I've just noticed that I'm feeling something that's not good. This isn't how I want to feel in my life. I want to feel happy, and I want to feel joyful and fulfilled and successful. So hey, what is this? And you sort of look at it. Okay, well, the reason that I'm feeling like this is because obviously I really wanted that job, and I thought that was my dream job. And then this is a natural reaction, and then start thinking in terms of, well, obviously, have a bit of faith in yourself. Have a bit of faith that perhaps that wasn't the opportunity that was intended for you. That one maybe wasn't the right job for you. That something better is going to come down the line. Now, I'm actually going to speak again very, very personally about sort of recent experiences with me with career. Is that although long term I don't harbour any ambitions to remain where I am, certainly not for sort of 20 years or whatever. But I spent a lot of years sitting at my desk and being frustrated and being a guy that was basically negative on everything and bitter and cynical, and believing I had all the ideas. And to be fair, I did have a whole bunch of really good ideas. Having all the ideas and just hitting walls all the time and never getting anywhere. And I just hated my job, and I hated coming into work every day, and basically spent not only 8 hours a day unhappy, but spent time travelling to and from and at home just being completely miserable about my work situation. Somewhere along the way in the last sort of year or so, all these sort of processes that have been going on in terms of the running and everything and the fitness and the personal development have kicked in. It was almost a magical thing overnight, is that suddenly I started to feel a bit more just started to feel more positive about my work. I started to notice a couple of chinks of light that were coming through, sort of opportunities that I hadn't spotted before, that that maybe just maybe there was a chance here that we could get certain things that I'd suggested that in ways of improving and making what we do here better. That that really were still some opportunities there if I was willing to just be positive and take them and drive them forwards and so on and so forth. And basically in the this year in 2014, we're now at the end of May. So basically in the last like 4 or 5 months, there's been a radical transformation in my experience of my workplace. Is that I am now happy coming to work. Like I say, it's not what I want to do long term, but I know how it contributes to my long term plan. I know how it contributes to making my life feel how I want it to feel. I know how it contributes to making me feel as I want to feel. Because of just a switch in attitude, just taking that positive mindset and going, you know what, I'm going to look for the opportunities. And now, various ideas that have been festering away for 8 years are now being adopted within the organisation. And I don't want massive credit for it. It's not a case of blowing your own trumpet. The thing that I take from it is that I'm now relatively happy coming into work and sitting at my desk and doing my job, and feeling so much happier in what I do, and knowing that it contributes overall to some of the bigger plans that I've got that have nothing to do with this job whatsoever. And that sounds incredible. You could say, well, you just got lucky and certain things changed for you, and that's not going to happen for me. And do you know what? If you sit there and you say it's not going to happen, 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 it's okay for you, that was just luck, blah 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 blah, it won't happen. If you change your point of view, if you change your perspective and you start taking a positive attitude now, basically if you make the effort to start feeling now how you want to feel, then you'll find that you'll get more and more of that feeling coming towards you. And the same is true if you insist on making yourself feel bad. Because if you insist on making yourself feel bad about everything and focusing on all the bad stuff, then guess what? You're going to feel worse and worse and worse, and you're going to end up so frustrated, and you're going to be an angry person, you're going to be a bitter person, you're going to be a cynical person, you're going to be an unpleasant person, you're going to be somebody that nobody is. You're never going to have any true friends. You're never going to have fulfilling relationships. I know because I was that guy, for 20 odd years that was me. Okay, so. I'm not making it up. However, to truly believe it and to truly understand what I'm saying, you have to live it. You have to experience it yourself. I'm hoping you don't have to experience the full range of the bad, negative feelings, and I'm hoping that you could take something from this and some of the other videos and some of the stuff that I write and realise that it really is your life and you are in control. It's your feelings and you've got control over those. And you can basically design and achieve the amazing life that you've always dreamed of, and just go and do it. That's the only thing I can say. Just go and do it, and if you need to make changes, start making them there. And on that note, I'll speak to you next week, and have a fantastic time until next time. Go build that life. See ya.